ये घुसपैठिए घुसते हैं और देश की सुरक्षा में सेंध लगती है।
एम्बुलेंस का फोन करो।
बम धमाके करते हैं, भारत के निर्दोष नागरिक मारे जाते हैं। इनके मानव अधिकार की रक्षा करनी चाहिए या नहीं करनी चाहिए, बताओ।
The battle lines are drawn. An upsurge of protests erupts across India over the Narendra Modi government's populist yet contentious citizenship law.
The partition, really, of India into two parts, the Muslim part and the non-Muslim part.
Hindu-Muslim Zindabad! Zindabad! Zindabad!
They were instigated to run riot.
Why has the Indian government's move triggered such widespread dissent? Has Modi's sectarian agenda gone too far? Can the new law leave millions, mostly Muslims, potentially stateless?
What are we going to do? Throw them into the Bay of Bengal?
Inqilab Zindabad! 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 বসে না শোনাই বিবি দুলাখে এলনি খেলে গো শোনাই বিবি গো.
A humanitarian crisis is unfolding in the Indian state of Assam, following the government's crackdown on illegal immigration. 32-year-old Anara claims that she and her family have never lived anywhere but in India. Yet the recently completed exercise of the National Register of Citizens, or NRC, has left her husband stateless.
মনের কবার লাগে কি আছে দরুনাঙ্গ মনে এখন কি আছে মনে যেত্রি আছে তো মনের কথা কবার গেলে রাইতো নাই দিনও নাই মনের কথা তার মানে কি ধরুন যেসম ভিতরে যেসম নিয়ে আগুন জ্বলে না ওসম আগুন আমি নিবা ভারে পেন না সেসম মনে মনে একটা আইডিয়া হে কি যে আমি যদি সরকারের বুকলে যাবার পাইতাম নিশ্চয়ই আমি এই কাগজটি নিয়ে যাই আমি যদি পড়বার পাইতাম তাহলে আমি
আমার এই আসামের ধর্ম আমার বাপ চাচা এই জায়গারই ধর্ম এই জায়গাতেই ইন্তিকাল হয়ে গেছে যাই হোক আমার বাপও ভারতী আছিল আমিও ভারতী আমার পরিবারও ভারতী আমার ওনার যে বউ আছে সেও ভারতী ভোট আছে আই কার্ড আছে পান কার্ড আছে সব আছে হ্যাঁ সরকারের যে অন্যায়টা কে নিয়ে করতেছে এই এনআরসির কারণে এইটা নিয়েই করতেছে
It's ludicrous what has happened because families have been split. The husband has been declared a foreigner, the wife has been declared a citizen. Or a son has been declared a citizen, the mother has been declared a foreigner. So families have been split down the middle because of the documentation that is required.
A split that has caused enormous grief to Anara. 3 years ago, her husband Kadam Ali was arrested by the police and sent away to a detention center.
পড়াইছে আগে নাম টাম দিছি আঙ্গর বাপেরও নাম দিছি এনআরসি মধ্যে ওই অন্তিকা পাশে 9 মাস কেস খেলাইলে 8 মাস কেস খেলাইছি 9 মাসের মাথা নিয়ে গেছে.
Anara became the sole breadwinner of the family after Kadam's arrest. She now takes care of her in-laws and 4 children. In 1997, Kadam was marked a doubtful or D voter in the electoral rolls because of an alleged lack of documentation. In 2016, after an official notice from the Foreigners Tribunal, Kadam was declared a foreigner.
According to the modalities of the NRC, a person who is marked a doubtful voter, or if a person who has been accused of being illegal migrant, or any person whose cases is pending before the Foreigners Tribunal, their name will not appear in the NRC. Their name will appear in the NRC only when the Foreigners Tribunal declare them as Indian citizen.
গুনাহ হয় উৎসব হয় আল্লাহর দয়া আমরাও কিছু যোগাই এরকম এটা থাকি আর কি এই আসামের সরকারে আমগরে মানে যে খুব শাস্তি দিতেছে আসামের মধ্যে বহুত মানুষ আছে বহুত ডিভোট মানুষ আছে ডিভোটার যাই তাই আমগরি চোখে দেখছে আর আমগরি খুব মানে হারাস্তি করতেছে সরকার আমরা ভোট দিই সব কিছু করি আঙ্গ বাচ্চা থেকে 3টা ভোট যায় তো আমাদের যে সরকারে এইরকম করতেছে
It was a massive exercise, one of India's largest and the most expensive, designed to detect illegal immigrants in the Indian state of Assam. In a 5-year-long project, at a cost of a whopping $169 million, 55,000 officials conducted the mammoth task of examining the citizenship credentials of the people of Assam. The applicants had to prove that they came to India by 24th March 1971, the day before neighbouring Bangladesh declared independence from Pakistan.
What you had to do was to construct with documents your entire family tree, which is called your legacy, and then to prove your linkage, that you were part of that family tree. So you had to have documents about your grandparents or your parents and to show that they were legitimate Indian citizens. If I have to know the names of each of my grandparents and their siblings and their dates of birth and have documents to prove it, it would be a virtual impossibility even for us, and this is what they had to do.
In 2015, 32.9 million people applied for inclusion in the National Register of Citizens. In the first 2 drafts, the exclusions came down drastically from 18.9 to 4 million. In August 2019, the final draft of the NRC sent shockwaves across the state. 1.9 million people declared as foreigners became stateless overnight. This is equivalent to 6% of Assam's population or 50% of the population of Los Angeles, and nearly twice the number of Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh.
India has 1.3 billion people. India has the second largest population of Muslims in the world. So what's going to happen to them if millions of them are declared stateless? Or if millions of Hindus are declared stateless if they don't have documents?
The state of Assam has had a checkered history plagued by violence and armed insurgencies. Situated in the northeastern part of India, it has harboured long-held anxieties about waves of migration from neighbouring Bangladesh. First, during British India's partition in 1947, and then during the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1971 when millions fled to India. But the porous international border masks the reality of fluid identities and cultures.
The whole thing actually began from colonial times, and many of our headaches can be traced to partition. Partition itself took place in a very haphazard manner. All sorts of terrible things had happened to common people.
In the face of large-scale in-migration into the state of Assam, there were many agitations in the northeast, protesting against what the local people called foreigners coming into the state. But the people of Assam said no more. We don't want more people coming into our state.
The NRC in Assam flows from the Assam Accord, signed by the late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. And the accord did promise that there would be a National Register of Citizens to actually identify those who were not legitimate Indian residents, in other words, people who were here without any papers.
The very first NRC in Assam was completed in 1951 to identify the permanent residents of the state. Though the Assam Accord was signed in 1985, it was only 20 years later that the Congress-led UPA government passed a resolution to update the NRC in Assam and fulfill the promise made in the accord. It did not make much headway until 2013, when the Supreme Court intervened to fix a time frame for the NRC. 2 years later, under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's BJP government, the NRC was rolled out in Assam, mandated and monitored by the Supreme Court of India. The NRC was a bureaucratic exercise that resulted in whole families being excluded arbitrarily from the final draft. Shahjahan Ali Ahmad, a grassroots activist, has his great-grandfather's land records dating back to 1934, as well as legacy documents that establish his relationship to his grandfather. Still, he and 30 members of his extended family have been excluded from the NRC.
मेरा सबसे बड़ा भाई है अली हुसैन का नाम है मेरा बड़ा भाई का नाम आया है एनआरसी में और बड़ा भाई का एक बेटी और एक बेटा का नाम आया है बाकी 30 मेंबर का नाम नहीं आया है हमारे फैमिली का मेरा पिताजी है पिताजी का भी लेफ्ट आउट हुआ है
The NRC exercise was not necessary at all. Look, politicians are pretty astute. And politicians understood that there were a large number of outsiders who had come in over 40-year, 50-year period. You had a broad picture that it ran into millions. What was the most reasonable thing to do was to shift the cutoff date for in-migration by a general law.
In hindsight, we can say that it was a very flawed exercise because the design of the NRC was not perfect. To actually delineate who are citizens of India in Assam are and who are foreigners. Probably some sort of exercise is needed. Whether that NRC was the correct one, whether the design of it was correct is another matter altogether.
In a state that had for decades been a hotbed of ethnic tensions, the NRC was seen as a panacea to detect illegal immigrants. But sadly, it has excluded many legitimate Indian citizens. As an activist, Shahjahan is providing legal assistance to Anara, whose husband Kadam was declared a foreigner and locked up in a detention center.
যার কারণে এতিয়া তেওঁৰ পিতৃমাতৃ ভাৰতীয় হৈ আছে আৰু প্ৰকৃততেই ভাৰতীয় তেওঁ লোক আৰু সেই ভাৰতীয় মানুহখিনিক ডিমাৰ্ক কৰি ট্ৰাইব্যুনেলৰ জৰিয়তে যিখন বিদেশী ন্যায়াধিকৰণ ন্যায়সংগতভাৱে চলিব লাগিছিলে কোনো ন্যায়সংগতভাৱে চলি থকা নাই ইয়াত অন্যায়ভাৱে মানুহক স্বদেশী মানুহক বিদেশী বনোৱাৰ এটা মেচিনৰ দৰে এই বিদেশী ন্যায়াধিকৰণবিলাকে আজিৰ তাৰিখত কাম কৰি আছে
কাম করে খাই এমনি আর কি মানুষের হাজিরা টাজিরা করে খাই ধরুন আর কি এমনি ধরুন বাড়ি ঘরের কাম করে খাই বা এমনি খেতে পাথারও কাম কাজ করে খাইতেছি হাজিরা দিন হাজিরা টাজিরা করে খাইতেছি একটা পরিয়াল তো এখন একজন মানুষের নিগে তার 7 জন মানুষ মেরা লাই দিবার পারি না
মনে মানে দুনিয়া থাকি কি না থাকি মনে কয় যে একবার মনে জাল্লা উঠে যে মইরেই যাব মনে কয় যে নাতি পুতি বউ নইয়া একবারে বিষ খাই একবারে মইরা থাকি এবার জাল্লা উঠে
তো জামিনের জন্য কালের কথা কুসিন কইলেন
মানুষের নাকি কই যাগর নামে মাটি আছে তাগর নাকি কই তারা ধরো সাহস করে তারা স্বীকার করবার চায় না
Anara's husband will soon be completing 3 years in detention, and his family can now apply for his bail as per a recent Supreme Court decree. But there is a hitch. They must find 2 people to stand surety for Kadam and put up a bail amount of a whopping $3,000.
পরে মাড়ি বেশি মাড়ি তো সব আগে ছুটাইছি ছুটাই হাইকোর্ট করছি তারপরে এখন সুপ্রিম কোর্ট করবো কি ভাই বললাম যে সুপ্রিম কোর্টে তো মানুষও নাই
একজন মানুষের নিকা যে ওখানে 7 জন পরিয়াল মরতাছে 7 জন পরিয়াল ওখানে ধরো মানুষ সহজে মরেও না হারেও না পিন্ডার উপর দা কষ্ট যায় পিন্ডার উপর দা কষ্ট যায় ধরো খাওয়া নেওয়া ধরো না খাইলেও তারপরে মানুষ মরে না জিন্দা মরা আমি এখানে পুলাহান সুলাহান জিন্দা মরা হয়েছি
For Anara and her family, Shah Jahan is the only hope. With his help, they can now start looking for bailers to get Kadam out.
কতমালি ডিটেনশনত বন্দী হোৱাৰ পিছৰে পৰা ঘৰৰ পৰা পৰিয়ালৰ মানুহ গৈ পেলাই কতমালিক সাক্ষাৎ কৰে তো ইতিমধ্যে আমি এইবাৰ একেলগে যাম বুলি ভাবিছোঁ যেহেতু 3 বছৰ হৈ আছে আৰু সাক্ষাৎ কৰি পেলাই তেওঁলোকৰ আৰু কিছু আলোচনা কৰিম আৰু তেওঁৰ তাৰ পৰা জামিনত ওলাই আনিব লাগিব প্ৰথমে জামিনত ওলাই অনাৰ কাৰণে যিখিনি প্ৰচেছ আছে 2জন জামিনদাৰ লাগিব গোটেইখিনি আমি কাম একেলগে আলোচনা বিলোচনা কৰি আমি এইখিনি কৰি আছোঁ
परदेसी जाना नहीं मुझे छोड़ के मैंने तुमको चाहा तुमको प्यार किया बस
The NRC set out to resolve the migration problem that Assam is faced with, but it has only stirred up a hornet's nest. According to sources, some 400,000 children are estimated to have been excluded from the final NRC list. 12-year-old Muzammil Haq is one of them. He's the only member in his family excluded from the final NRC.
আমি শানকা মুন্ডা অল্প বেজার হইল শানকা আমি আপা করলাম যে আমার নাম কে নেই গায়ে নাই খারাপ লাগলো তারপরে মার আর আব্বার আইলে আমার শানকা অত ডর করলো না যে মা আর আপা যদি এই দেশের নাগরিক হয় তাহলে আমি কোন দেশের নাগরিক
তাৰপিছত প্ৰাইভেটত দিছোঁ এইটো তো আমি ক'ব নোৱাৰোঁ অফিচিয়েলি কথা এইটো কি মোৰ সন্দেহ হয় যে এইটো হেৰাসমেণ্ট কৰাৰ কাৰণে ৰাখিছে যে 3-4 বাৰ হিয়াৰিং হল বহুত টকা পইচা খৰচ হৈছে আমি তো ইমান মানে ধনী ফ্যামিলি নহয় যে আমি 5-7 হাজাৰ টকা দি ডেইলি জালা বা বেলেগ ঠাইত দৌৰ পাৰিম
Muzammil says that many of his schoolmates have been excluded as well, around 5 to 6 students in every class. At recess time, the children huddle up to discuss what the exclusion means for them and their future.
ডরাইছিলাম যে এনআরসি এই ছবির নাম আছে আমার নাম আয় নাই মানুষে বাংলাদেশি কয় ধরে নিয়ে যাব দে আমি ডরাইছিলাম ধরে নিয়ে গেলে বাংলাদেশে নিয়ে যাব আর বাংলাদেশে নিয়ে যেয়ে জেলে ঢুকাবো
কি হয় নহয় এইটো মই ক'ব নোৱাৰোঁ কিন্তু মই একদম চিউৰি আছোঁ যে মোৰ নাম যেতিয়া আহিছে মোৰ মানে ল'ৰাজনৰ মাকৰ নাম আহিছে দেউতাকৰ নাম আহিছে পিহিয়েকৰ নাম আহিছে বনিয়েকৰ নাম আহিছে ইয়াৰ চিন্তাৰ কোনো কাৰণ নাই তেওঁৰ নাম আহক বা নাহক বা পিছত আমাৰ প্ৰজন্ম যে আৰু এতিয়া জন্ম হ'ব বা বিয়া বাৰু হোৱাৰ পিছত যেতিয়া জন্ম হ'ব তেওঁলোকৰ নামতো নাথাকে তেওঁলোকে যেনেকৈ নাগৰিক হ'ব চিউৰলি এইটো এনেকৈ হ'ব
The results from the NRC tribunals have varied enormously from district to district. Experts say that the officers in these tribunals are not qualified judges and that many of their decisions are arbitrary.
FTৰ যিবিলাক মেম্বাৰ আছে তেওঁলোক হৈছে কন্ট্ৰাকচুৱেল জব তেওঁলোকে কৰে আৰু কন্ট্ৰাকচুৱেল জব কৰাৰ কাৰণেই তেওঁলোকৰ সেই চাকৰি হেৰুৱাৰ ভয় তেওঁলোকৰ মনত থাকে যাৰ কাৰণে চৰকাৰে যি নিৰ্দেশনা প্ৰদান কৰে তেওঁলোকক সেই কথাখিনি তেওঁলোকে মানি লয় আৰু তেওঁলোকে আগৰ পৰাই থিৰাং কৰি লয় যে মই এক মাহত যদি 20টা কেছ আহে হয়তো মই 15টা কেছ বিদেশী বনাব লাগিব বা 18টা কেছ বিদেশী বনাব লাগিব সেই কাৰণে বেছিভাগ মানুহক তেওঁলোকে বিদেশী বনাই আছে
Before the NRC began, there was no way to ascertain the exact number of illegal immigrants. Many believed that the increase in the number of Bengali Muslims in some of Assam's districts was an indication of Bangladeshis in the state.
You need to understand that all these decades there was propaganda. Lies were spread that there are millions of foreigners here. Some said 4 million, some said 5 million, some said 7 millions. But a process which was so harsh, so stringent, and so scientific, that process excluded only 1.9 million people.
Come with me to West Bengal and I will take you to places. I mean, the demography is entirely composed of Bangladeshis who have come in illegally. Entire districts are turning Muslim majority districts. The Indian Muslim population growth rate does not explain the changing demography of these districts.
But the final NRC list turned that theory on its head. It is now estimated that out of 1.9 million people who were left out of the final list, nearly 1.2 million were Hindus.
The BJP being the Hindu nationalist party, their thinking was that the majority of people who would be left out in NRC would be Muslims. And these would be Muslim migrants who would be made stateless. And this would give an opportunity for the Hindu nationalist BJP to build up its Hindu vote, consolidate its Hindu identity.
मैं आप सबको पूछना चाहता हूं, एक घुसपैठिए घुसते हैं और देश की सुरक्षा में सेंध लगती है, बम धमाके करते हैं, भारत के निर्दोष नागरिक मारे जाते हैं। इनके मानवाधिकार की रक्षा करनी चाहिए या नहीं करनी चाहिए, बताओ? जोर से बोलो, करनी चाहिए या नहीं करनी चाहिए?
That's really frightening because the kind of language that precedes a genocide, as in Rwanda, where they were also called insects, it is really creating a sentiment of fear and hate in the majority community.
The original fault line in Assam was the Assamese Bengali fault line. The BJP came along and tried to superimpose on an Assami Bengali fault line a Hindu Muslim fault line. What you end up with is the mess that the NRC produced in Assam. And we must discuss that mess.
जब यहाँ पे एनआरसी स्टार्ट हुआ प्रोसेस, तो मेरा फादर ऑल डॉक्यूमेंट्स सबमिट किया फॉर एनआरसी में नाम उठाने के लिए, तो मेरे फैमिली का सबका नाम आया लेकिन मेरा नाम छोड़ के।
Shahi Meghna, a university lecturer, is the daughter of one of Assam's leading filmmakers, Pramathesh Barua, and the granddaughter of a famous Assamese folk singer. Excluded from the first draft of the NRC, Meghna fought her case over several months and managed to get her name included in the final draft. But the humiliation of having to prove her nationality stays with her.
मैं एक इंडियन होके जब मुझे प्रूफ करना पड़ता है कि आई एम नॉट एन इंडियन, ये बहुत ज़्यादा मेंटली इफेक्ट करता है। तो मेरा फर्स्ट रिएक्शन है कि मुझे प्रूफ नहीं करना है कि मैं इंडियन हूँ कि नहीं, लेकिन बाद में सब लोग ने बोला नहीं आपको करना है बिकॉज यू हैव टू प्रूफ। तो मुझे बोला ठीक है, लेकिन मैंने बोला छोड़ दीजिए, जैसा है मैं हूँ, मुझे तो इंडिया से कोई निकल नहीं सकता ना, क्योंकि मैं तो बाय बर्थ आई एम इंडियन, तो मुझे क्यों प्रूफ करना पड़ेगा।
The NRC exercise has pushed many over the brink. There are an estimated 30 NRC-linked suicides reported so far. Those excluded can appeal at the various foreigners' tribunals that have been set up in Assam, but that can cost a minimum of $1,000 to $1,500 per person.
हम लोग जैसे हम वो मैनेज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन एक पुअर फैमिली अगर होगा वो तो टेंशन हमेशा ही अंदर में रहता है ना, जब तक आपको प्रूफ नहीं होता है। सब लोग बोला नहीं आपका प्रूफ हो जाएगा, बोलना और मुझे फील करना दैट इज़ वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट ना। पापा बोलते हैं कि तो तुमको लेके चला जाएगा डिटेंशन कैंप में अगर आप तुम डिक्लेयर हो जाओगे कि तुम फॉरेनर, तो वो डर बहुत ज़्यादा होता है कि अगर मैं इंडियन होके भी मुझे डिटेंशन कैंप में रहना पड़ेगा, मेरा जॉब है, मेरा एक सोशल स्टेटस है, तो आप सोचिए तो कैसा होगा। तो वही बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रॉमा होता है वो।
हल्ला बोल, हल्ला बोल, हल्ला बोल, डरता किससे ऊंचा बोल, हल्ला बोल, हल्ला बोल। Honorable members.
In the midst of a raging controversy over the NRC's exclusion of 1.9 million people, Narendra Modi's BJP government passed the contentious Citizenship Amendment Act, or CAA, in Parliament on December the 11th, 2019.
The main essence of this bill is about legalizing the status of those who fled Bangladesh out of religious persecution after 1971 and from 71 to 2014. This is a thing which grants citizenship and amnesty both at the same time.
The act was BJP's election promise. It provides a path to citizenship to people from 6 religions, but excludes Islam. It will fast-track citizenship for those religious communities that fled persecution from the 3 Islamic countries of Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan, and entered India before December 31st, 2014.
First of all, you're saying that you will give shelter to the victims of religious persecution who have suffered as a result of partition. Then why have you included Afghanistan? Afghanistan was never part of pre-partition India. And if you've included Afghanistan, then why not Myanmar? What about the Sri Lankan Tamils?
Now, please make me understand that a Hindu resident of Bangladesh or a Hindu resident of Pakistan or a Christian resident in Afghani Sikhs, for instance, I mean, where would they go if they don't, if India doesn't provide a natural shelter of sorts to the persecuted minorities? So this exclusion of Muslims from these areas does not mean exclusion of Muslims as a community in the country.
You're talking about minorities right across India, feeling alienated, feeling persecuted.
Why? When although it doesn't, the law doesn't apply to them, and yet it has created a fear among them. Why? Because some wretched soul who came in running from Pakistan is being given expedited citizenship. That the existence of the Muslim in India is threatened by that. Where is the logical correlation between the two?
What Hindutva politics has tried to do to India is make this 80% majority community feel they are somehow threatened by a smaller minority. This narrative that Muslims attack Hindus, Muslims persecute Hindus, this is the narrative that this law emerges from.
ये कानून इस देश के अंदर जो 130 करोड़ लोग रह रहे हैं, उनका इस कानून से कोई वास्ता नहीं है।
The act has led to widespread protests in 94 districts across 14 states in the country. At least 31 people died in police firing. Nearly 5 died in Assam, where a curfew was declared along with a shutdown of internet services. For protesters in Assam, the new law could drain the state's resources.
Ja
is an act which goes against the people of Assam. It is a very dangerous threat to the language and culture of the people of Assam. It is discriminatory, it is unconstitutional, it is arbitrary, and it is politically motivated.
Does Citizenship Amendment Act solve all the problems? No. But is it a step towards the society reflecting on a robust national policy on refugees? Yes.
Why should we be taking Hindus or Muslims or Christians or anyone? Bangladesh is having problem. Then why don't Mr. Modi go and talk with Hasina madam? Then you settle your thing.
So the Assamese have a different argument on constitutionality, that you cannot settle people on our land, or you must compensate us, or you must make reparation to the people of Assam for taking the burden of the entire country in one state.
In this bill, they are targeting a community without naming it. It violates the basic structure of the Constitution. It is divisive and exclusive. It will destabilize our polity. That this is legally tenable and legally reprehensible, morally reprehensible. Those who have no idea of India cannot protect the idea of India.
ये बिल भारत में रहने वाले किसी भी माइनॉरिटी को और विशेषकर मुस्लिम भाइयों बहनों को जरा भी नुकसान करने वाला नहीं, क्योंकि ये बिल सिर्फ उनको नागरिकता देता है, किसी की नहीं चिंता है.
While the BJP government has emphasised on inclusion of religions in the new law, the opponents highlight the exclusion of Islam and the fact that the law selectively omits refugees from other neighbouring countries like Sri Lanka and Myanmar.
Exclusion has been made the basis of citizenship, that this is going to infect the entire official machinery. You know, every Muslim now coming to India will be seen with suspicion. You've created a mindset against Muslims. You've created an exclusionary posture towards Muslims. You've made exclusion the basis of citizenship.
There is nothing in the citizenship bill which says that anybody will be deprived of their citizenship. Not a mention of it. This is an absolute canard, not a soul. It's only in who are the people who are to be included. That's what it defines. The rest of it is imaginary.
And Article 14 of the Constitution guarantees equality before the law. Article 15 of the Constitution prohibits discrimination on the basis of religion. It is not an Islamic republic or a Hindu nation. Maybe it will become a Hindu nation. Perhaps they'll change the constitution and insert Hindu into the constitution. But at the moment, India is not a Hindu nation. India is not a Hindu Rashtra.
No, India is not a Hindu Rashtra. India has a large Hindu cultural underpinning. But the Indian state is categorically and emphatically secular. But the people who fled religious persecution weren't victims of secularism. They were victims of something else. And we are recognizing that.
The passage of the Act comes close on the heels of Assam's NRC, and this has raised concerns. The final draft of the NRC has excluded 1.9 million people so far, a majority of them believed to be Hindus. So, while granting citizenship to these Hindus, the new law can make Muslims, who were excluded, potentially stateless.
With no citizenship rights, technically stateless, are we seriously looking at condemning 400, 500,000 people in Assam to permanent statelessness? What are we going to do? Throw them into the Bay of Bengal? Bangladesh is not going to take these people back. What are you going to do with them?
Either you say religious persecution did not exist, in which case that's a complete travesty of reality. You are denying reality. I feel this project has to be seen for what it is, not what people fear it could become.
On December 15th, just days after India passed the controversial citizenship law, a major student protest began at Delhi's Jamia Millia Islamia University. The police allegedly stormed their way into the campus, fired tear gas shells and beat students with batons in a night-long police action. More than 600 terrified students are believed to have sought refuge inside the building to escape the intensifying and violent police crackdown. According to eyewitness accounts, at least 2 students were treated with bullet injuries and several others injured.
Last night I was in the library and the security forces entered to the library and started beating us brutally. Like there was 100 of people there was. And they was not listening. What they was keep shouting like, Garmado in logo, Garmado. We are not an animal, we are a human being.
We started to get news that police had entered the campus. You know, university spaces are very sacrosanct. No police can enter into university space till it is given permission. The administration had no information of the police storming into the campus. The chief warden had no inkling that they were going to do this act.
Delhi police! Hi, 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 hi. Amit Shah! Hi, hi, नहीं चलेगी, नहीं चलेगी, नहीं चलेगी।
ये हिंदू और मुसलमान की बात नहीं है, ये भारत की बात है। जिस भारत को आप तोड़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, ये उस भारत की बात है। आप यहाँ आए हैं हिंदू और मुसलमान में बंटवारा करने के लिए। इसको हिंदू राष्ट्र बनाकर क्या आप कर लेंगे? क्या राम ऊपर से अवतरित होंगे? आपको किसी प्रकार का मेडल देने के लिए आप क्या बात करते हैं?
हिंदू मुस्लिम जिंदाबाद, जिंदाबाद, जिंदाबाद।
Protests against the act, widely perceived as anti-Muslim, have gained traction and spread across Delhi and several parts of the country.
हम लोग नागरिक हैं, हमारे लिए सरकार है जी, हमसे सरकार है, किससे है सरकार? हमारे लिए नहीं होगा। आप कोई सिस्टम इसको हमारे साथ ब्रूटली व्यवहार करोगे, हम कोई सवाल करते हैं तो जवाब नहीं दोगे, हमारा अधिकार नहीं आपसे सवाल पूछने का। हम अजनबी महसूस कर रहे हैं, आसादा हमारे साथ ज्यादती कर रहे हैं, तो तकलीफ हमारे बच्चों क्या होगा मैम? हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं, आजादी।
The final draft of the new law does not mention religious persecution. It merely states that any person belonging to Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi or Christian community from Afghanistan, Bangladesh or Pakistan who entered into India on or before December 31st, 2014 shall not be treated as illegal migrant for the purposes of this act. So the law sanctions citizenship for non-Muslims whether or not they were subjected to religious persecution. India's Home Minister Amit Shah has also said that the CAA will be followed by a nationwide NRC.
He says in very dramatic fashion, no Hindu will be forced to leave this country. The Home Minister of India has repeatedly, in public, on record, linked the Citizenship Amendment Bill to the National Register of Citizens.
Show me the statement where he says that the two are linked. He said first CAA will happen and then NRC will happen. Has he said CAA will be linked with NRC? It's a sequenced program.
आप क्रोनोलॉजी समझ लीजिए, पहले सीए भी आने जा रहा है, सीए भी आने के बाद एनआरसी आएगा और एनआरसी सिर्फ बंगाल के लिए नहीं आएगा, पूरे देश के लिए आएगा। घुसपैठिया देश की समस्या है।
In his speech on December 22nd, Prime Minister Narendra Modi refuted claims that his government had discussed the idea of a nationwide NRC, contradicting what Home Minister Amit Shah had said earlier.
मेरी सरकार आने के बाद 2014 से आज तक मैं 130 करोड़ देशवासियों को कहना चाहता हूं, कहीं पर भी एनआरसी शब्द पर कोई चर्चा नहीं हुई है, कोई बात नहीं हुई है। सिर्फ सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जब कहा तो सिर्फ आसाम के लिए करना पड़ा। क्या बातें कर रहे हैं? झूठ फैलाया जा रहा है।
if they're going to go in for a national NRC based on the Citizenship Amendment Act, I will, for official purposes, declare myself as Muslim, then refuse to present documents. And then if they're taking away the citizenship rights or sending a single of my Muslim brothers or sisters into a detention center, I will demand that you have to do the same with me.
তোমার বাবার কবে বাইরে এখন লাগে তোমার মতে কি হইছে মানে কি এই যে
কি কান্দিস না
It's a day that Pinky Khatun has been looking forward to. She'll be visiting her father at the detention center, where he has been languishing for 3 years now after being declared as a foreigner. It's a 3-hour journey for the family, one that they are taking after nearly 2 months. The detention center is located in Golpara, situated around 130 kilometers to the west of Assam's capital, Guwahati. It's a jail within a jail. The detainees are not granted parole even for a day. So Kadam has not seen his ailing mother since he came here. And without a bail amount of $3,000, chances are that he will spend the rest of his life here.
एक दिन भी बाहर अपना माँ को भी देख नहीं पा रहा था और हमने एक रिक्वेस्ट भी किया था जेलर से कि उनका माँ बीमार है, कोतवाली का माँ बीमार है, तो एक फ़ोटो कम से कम हमें लेने दीजिए, वो आ नहीं सकती यहाँ पर, तो बिल सब मना कर दिया।
আমরা সরকার আপনার তাহলে আমগরে একজনের নিকে 7 জন মানুষ মারা গেছে তাহলে ওরে আমগরে মানুষটা আমগরে ঘুরাই দিন বা ছেড়ে দিন।
India is on the verge of a statelessness crisis. According to the Home Ministry, as of April 2019, Assam's tribunals had declared 117,000 people as foreigners. Over 1,000 people among them are in detention centres, where 29 deaths have been reported so far.
When you declare your own citizen as foreigner, you cannot deport that person, because for deportation the country of origin should confirm the nationality. How will a country of origin, in this case the Bangladesh, will confirm nationality of an Indian citizen?
All these detention centers are going to be hell on earth, basically. Terrible conditions, food, stay, toilets, roughness inside the detention center, torture inside the detention center for people who protest lawfully. I think it's going to be like Guantanamo Bay, India's Guantanamo Bay.
कि कांग्रेस और अर्बन नक्सलियों द्वारा उड़ाई गई डिटेंशन सेंटर की अफवाहें सरासर झूठ है, बद इरादे वाली है, देश को तबाह करने के नापाक इरादों से भरी पड़ी है। ये झूठ है, झूठ है, झूठ है।
I've been inside the detention centers. There's 6 in Assam. There are 2 other huge detention centers. The Karnataka government has building detention centers. Maharashtra had announced wherever there were BJP governments. So the Prime Minister is actually resorting to absolute falsehoods. I don't think there's ever been a time when our ability to trust our elected leaders has been as abysmally low as it has reached today.
A brand new detention centre, India's largest, is currently being built in Matia, Assam, and is only a 30-minute drive from Golpara jail. It is slated to house around 3,000 people.
History should teach us that Nazi Germany did not begin with concentration camps. It began with everyday acts of discrimination. It began by calling them also termites and infiltrators who were eating up your nation.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a counter-campaign with the hashtag India Supports CAA, stating that the new citizenship law is about giving citizenship to refugees and not denying it. While Home Minister Amit Shah affirmed that the act will not be withdrawn.
I am a refugee legatee. My parents came as refugees in this country. Don't people understand that if my grandmother and her 5 children, if they had not been allowed to enter this country, if they had not been given citizenship, if they had been forced back into East Pakistan, they would have been killed. Why is it so difficult for people to understand this? I'm sorry.
The Citizenship Amendment Act came into force on January 10, 2020. A staggering 144 petitions have been filed in the Supreme Court challenging the constitutional validity of the law. The top court has declined to suspend the law, but has given 4 weeks to the Modi government to respond.
মই ফরেনার নহয়, মই ভারতীয় নাগরিক। গতিকে মোৰ অধিকাৰ মোৰ সংবিধানে দিছে, ভাৰতৰ সংবিধানে দিছে। সেই অধিকাৰ আমি পাব লাগিব। সেই অধিকাৰৰ কাৰণে আমি একটা সংগ্ৰাম আমি কৰি আছো। যে আমাক নহয় সদায় জীৱ-জন্তুৰ দৰে আমাক হত্যা কৰি থাকিব কোনোবাই।
ওটা তো ধরুন 100 বাড়ি, ওটা তো চিন্তা আছে। ধরুন আমার 3টা মেয়ে আছে, একটা পোলা আছে, আমি ভবিষ্যৎ কিচ্ছু করা হাম না। ধরুন আমি নিজে হাজিরা করে আমি 3টা পোলাপান লেখাপড়াই করামু না, পোলাপান 3টার আমি কোনো ব্যবস্থাই করে দিবার পামু। আমার কোনো লাইনই নাই।
কদমটাও ব্যাখ্যাইছে না, আর ব্যাখ্যাই কয় কদমে হয়েছে ভারতের মানুষ তাক বাংলাদেশি বানাই থইছে না, কিও বাংলাদেশি বানাইছে, আর বাংলাদেশি পরে শিখলা মানুষ আনি ভারতের মানুষ বানাবো।
The history of this struggle is yet to be told. I'm very optimistic that this will be a turning point for India. Suffering for India, suffering for many people, but it will be a turning point. The forces of good are going to triumph over evil. The forces of good are going to tell the Rakshasas in power that this is not going to be allowed.
I do believe that India is bigger than individuals, and the fundamental nature of this country is a coalition of diverse interests. And the challenge of our times is to take people together rather than divide them on identity. I do believe, though, that India's pluralism, diversity will ensure that India will not become a Hindu Pakistan. This is the greatest country in the world.